HALA and nothing else, nothing more. A very good day to all my Madridista family. Welcome once again to this space where we breathe, talk, and live the essence of the team we love, the greatest club on the planet, Real Madrid Club de Football. This is a place where every word is dyed in white, where every thought is born from pure passion, and where we share together that feeling that transcends generations and borders. Before diving into today's main topic, let me remind you, as always, to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because here you won't just find information. You'll find analysis, history, debate, emotion, and above all, the passion we feel for these colors that have given us so many unforgettable moments. Because talking about Real Madrid is not just talking about football. It is talking about something different, unique, and unrepeatable. This is a club that is measured not only by its trophies, although there are many, unmatched in number, but also by its ability to remain at the top for more than a century. It's no coincidence that when someone mentions Madrid, anywhere in the world, people immediately think of greatness, of epic comebacks, of magical Champions League nights, of that iconic white shirt shining under the Bernabeu lights. A shirt worn by legends such as Di Stefano, Raúl, Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo, and now by players like Vinicius, Bellingham, Rodrigo, and many others who continue to write history in golden letters. Today, however, I want to focus on one very specific subject, a name that is on everyone's lips and is already igniting excitement among the fans. The situation of Endrick, the young Brazilian jewel who, at just 17 years of age, has Madridistas around the world dreaming. And the most fascinating thing, he hasn't even played an official match with Real Madrid yet, and still we already feel he belongs, that he is one of us. Endrick is not just another prospect. He is a symbol of the new era the club is building, patiently, intelligently, and with a clear long-term vision. When you watch Endrick play, the first thing that catches your eye is his fearlessness. That kind of bravery only the chosen few have. Players who seem immune to pressure, who step onto the pitch as if it were their own backyard. His movements, his ability to find space, his knack for turning in tight areas, his natural goal-scoring instinct, all of this reminds you of some of the greatest strikers in history. And yet he adds his own flavor, that distinct Brazilian mix of flair, power, and joy. The most remarkable part is that he's doing this at just 17 years old, in a country where football is religion and where media pressure can devour young talents. His signing with Real Madrid sparked waves of excitement across the footballing world. Because we all know, Madrid doesn't sign players for the sake of signing. Every move is carefully thought out, every addition part of a bigger project. The club has learned how to navigate the transfer market with intelligence, betting on young stars who not only possess extraordinary ability but also a winning mentality. Endrick embodies exactly that, pure talent with a grounded mindset. That is why so many already see him as a future leader, a player destined to make a difference and to carve unforgettable chapters at the Santiago Bernabeu. But football is never a straight road to glory. Recently, Endrick suffered an injury that has sidelined him for several weeks. And it's here that the greatness of Real Madrid as an institution shines through once again. Because instead of rushing his comeback or focusing only on the short term, the club has shown that the priority is the player's health and the long-term plan. They've decided not to take any risks, not to force his return, but to let him recover fully before stepping back onto the pitch. And that decision, while it may frustrate some impatient fans, is proof of the seriousness and foresight that define this club. If we think about it, this approach is nothing new. Madrid has always managed its young talents with patience. Just look at Vinicius, who faced criticism and doubts at the beginning but was protected and supported by the club, and today he is among the very best in the world. Or Rodrigo, who gradually earned his place until becoming a decisive player in those magical Champions League nights. Endrick's path will be no different. His moment will come, and when it does, it will be under the right conditions, without hurry, but with purpose. In fact, what may seem like a setback could actually become an opportunity. An opportunity for Endrick to grow, to mature, to learn how to handle adversity. Because elite football is not only about triumphs, it's also about facing obstacles, and what truly matters is how you overcome them. And if there's one thing Endrick has shown in his young career, it's resilience. He doesn't back down from challenges. He has the mentality, the discipline, and the talent to turn this moment into just another stepping stone on his way to greatness. In short, what we are witnessing with Endrick is the perfect balance of talent, patience, and institutional wisdom. Real Madrid is not only thinking about today, it is thinking about the next decade. about continuing to build a young, competitive, hungry squad that will keep the club at the summit of world football. Endrick is part of that plan, a key piece who, sooner or later, will take center stage on those magical Bernabeu nights. And for us, the fans, our task is simple: to trust, to support, and to dream. Because when that long-awaited debut arrives, when Endrick finally pulls on the white shirt and steps onto the Bernabeu pitch, we will all know that we are witnessing the beginning of a new era. What truly matters at this point is not having Endrick available a few days or even a few weeks earlier than expected, but rather ensuring that he will be able to perform at the highest level for many, many years to come. What we as Madridistas should care about above any impatience or short-term need is that he returns at 100%, with full confidence in his own body, free of fear, and with the assurance that the injury is nothing more than a distant memory, something completely overcome and left behind. The greatest danger for a player as young as he is does not lie in the injury itself, but in the temptation to rush the process, to try and accelerate something that by its very nature requires patience, time, and meticulous care. The history of football is filled with painful examples of dazzling young talents who seemed destined to mark an era, only to see their progress slowed, or even completely derailed, because they lacked the patience to recover properly. We have seen countless cases where rushing back led to recurring problems, chronic injuries, or simply a gradual loss of trust in their own body. And that is the worst possible scenario for a footballer. Once the trust in the body disappears, the mind suffers too. Instead of expressing their full talent, they begin to play with fear, with hesitation. For this reason, Real Madrid is very clear: there are no shortcuts here. The absolute priority is the player's health, well-being, and long-term career, far above any immediate sporting urgency. This very week we've seen him back on the pitch, touching the ball, smiling, radiating that youthful joy that is so characteristic of him. His energy is contagious. It makes us all feel excited because it transmits hunger, ambition, and an unshakable desire to succeed. And that, for the Madrid fanbase, is pure fuel. It reminds us that we are not talking about just any player, but about one of those rare prospects who can inspire entire generations. At the same time, however, that very enthusiasm is also a reminder of the need for calm. Football constantly teaches us that patience, however hard it may be, always proves to be the best ally. We do not want setbacks. We do not want unnecessary ups and downs. What we want is a strong, consolidated Endrick, fully ready to embrace the challenge of wearing the Real Madrid shirt when the exact right moment arrives, not before and not after. And in this whole process, what provides the most reassurance is seeing the meticulous care the club puts into every detail. Real Madrid does not improvise when it comes to the health of its players. The attention extends far beyond the physical. It also takes into account the emotional and psychological aspects, the mental strength that someone of his age needs so as not to feel crushed by the weight of expectation. Because Endrick is not only a young footballer, he is still a teenager suddenly carrying the hopes of millions of fans around the world. That kind of responsibility, if mismanaged, can become overwhelming. Here, however, he is being offered a safe and stable environment where he can grow step by step, without skipping stages, without rushing, but with the full confidence that his time will come. From the very top of the club's leadership, to the coaching staff, to the medical department, and even among the fans, there is one shared conviction: what matters is not speed, but building a solid foundation that will allow him to shine for years to come. The philosophy is crystal clear. The goal is not to have him available right away, but to prepare him so that, when he does take the field, he can unleash his full potential without fear and with the certainty that he is ready to face any challenge. A debut might excite the crowd for a weekend, but a long, stable career is what truly elevates both the player and the club's history. In the end, Madridistas understand this well. What is cooked slowly often turns out to be the most lasting and the most satisfying. Endrick does not need to become an instant star. He needs to evolve into a cornerstone of the club's future. And for that, the best things we can give him right now are time, patience, and trust. Because great projects are never improvised, they are built. And with Endrick, Real Madrid is building nothing less than a key piece of its future. Endrick is not just any signing. We are not talking about an ordinary addition to the squad, a player brought in to fill a secondary role, or someone who will simply rotate in from the bench. Endrick is, in reality, a long-term project, a talent destined to become a global star if everything unfolds with the patience and care he deserves. From a very young age, he has carried the weight of being compared to true Brazilian football legends, figures who transcended their eras and who still inspire new generations today. And that is no coincidence. His explosive speed, his ability to beat opponents in tight spaces, his instinctive eye for goal, and, above all, that fierce competitive character that shows even in training sessions, are qualities you don't see every day. They are natural gifts, combined with a maturity beyond his years, that explain why so many eyes are fixed on him. Real Madrid, a club renowned for signing the very best players of the present, has shown with Endrick that it also knows how to look ahead to the future. The club understood early on that a talent of this magnitude could not be allowed to slip away. That is why it invested heavily in him, why it placed its trust in a teenager still in development, and why it now protects him so carefully. This is not just about a footballer, it is about a strategic investment, a player who could become the cornerstone of the next era. In other words, Madrid did not sign the Endrick of today, they signed the Endrick of tomorrow. Of course, in the world of football, where instant results often rule everything, there will always be critics. Some will say, but we need results now, we need the best on the pitch as soon as possible, we can't wait for a 17 or 18-year-old kid to grow. That impatience is understandable, especially at a club where the demand to win every game, every trophy, every competition never lets up. But what many forget is that Real Madrid is not defined by the short term. This club does not live off temporary victories or fleeting trends. Madrid thrives on greatness, on sustained excellence, and on a mentality that always looks beyond immediate gratification. Real Madrid has built its legend precisely because it knows how to balance the present with the future. Yes, it thinks about winning the next match, but also about how to keep its legacy alive for decades. Protecting Endrick, resisting the urge to rush him into the spotlight, is a clear example of that long-term vision. Betting on him is not just about guaranteeing a good season, it's about ensuring that for the next 10 years the club will have a truly decisive player, someone capable of changing games in the most critical moments, delivering trophies, and gifting us with unforgettable nights in Europe. And let's not forget, this approach is not new. Madrid has done it before with other young prospects who, with patience and work, went on to become icons. Just think of Vinicius Jr. At the beginning he faced harsh criticism, even mockery, yet today he is one of the brightest stars in world football. Or Rodrigo, who gradually carved out his place and ended up being decisive in legendary Champions League comebacks. Patience, though hard to practice in modern football, is often the silent weapon that yields the greatest rewards. So, fellow Madridistas, let me ask you this. What do you think about the way the club is managing Endrick? Don't you agree that in this particular case, patience is the true key to success? History has already shown us, time and again, that greatness is not improvised, it is built. It is built calmly, with long-term vision, with careful planning, and, above all, with mutual trust between the club, the players, and the fans. It's not just about waiting, it's about supporting, about giving encouragement in difficult moments, and about keeping faith in a potential that is still in the process of blossoming. Personally, I am convinced that very soon we will be celebrating his goals with the same passion we now recall the feats of our idols. We will be applauding his impossible dribbles, those plays that leave defenders behind without explanation, and we will be rejoicing in victories stamped with his signature. But until that day comes, the smartest, most Madridista thing to do is wait. To trust in the project, to trust in the club, and to trust in Endrick himself. Because in football, as in life, the very best things almost always take a little longer to arrive. And when they finally do, they come with such overwhelming force that the wait is always worth it. Endrick is the future, he is hope, he is promise. And the only thing he asks in return is patience. Patience that, I am certain, will be repaid many times over when we see him dressed in white, shining at the Santiago Bernabéu, writing his own chapter in the eternal history of Real Madrid.